Today I want to answer a very important question which comes up a lot when talking about the true nature of reality and also the simulation theory, and that is life just a reflection? Now, obviously that question is open to interpretation, what the question actually means. However, the way I see it, there are two distinct areas that are linked. So we're going to look at the first one, which is taking it at its base level. Is life real, and is it just a reflection of true reality? So going back thousands of years, ancient civilizations have always talked about and documented and suspected that life isn't real in the classic sense. They always talk about where we are, the things that we see are a reflection of true reality. Now, I don't know whether they talk about a reflection because maybe they look into a river or a pond and they see a reflection of themselves. I've talked about this before, where you could argue that the simulation theory, the way that it is explained, is based on their current understanding, what the current technology is at that moment in time. So, back then they would talk about reflections, later on they talk about the holographic universe. Now, of course, we talk about the simulation theory. But not just a reflection, but true reality is something that is projecting the world that we live in. And when you think about atoms, for example, so everything that you see is all made up of atoms. An actual atom, which is made up of neutrons, protons, I think the nucleus is in the middle, I'm trying to remember my physics, and electrons. But if you were able to study it and look at it through a microscope, if that was possible, obviously they're absolutely minute, but it's something like 99.999% air. It's just completely space. So it is like we are projection, literally like a projector. We're not really solid. It only feels solid because of the rate that everything is vibrating at that makes it feel solid. Then you've got the other aspect, and that is, are the things that happen to you a reflection of what you concentrate on, what you put your intention on, what you focus on? And this is why it's very important to a lot of videos, a lot of people talk about gratitude, how important gratitude is. And that is because if you feel abundance and if you appreciate and take stock of the things that you have now and your successes, that then gives you the vibration, that creates the right vibration that will attract more of those things. You get into the flow, and that will give you more of what you want. If you're always thinking about lack, then life seems to give you more of that, more of less, if that's not a double negative. So in the movie The Secret, one of the things that I do agree with The Secret is when you concentrate on bad things. Let's say you're having a bad day and you stub your toe, and that puts you in a bad mood. Maybe you hit your toe as you get out of bed or something, and then you're late for work, and then you're rushing to work, then you nearly hit something when you're driving along in a car, and that makes you angry, and then you drive faster. You can see how the more of that you do, the more you concentrate on, rather than just slowing down, it is going to create more of that situation. Another example, and just to be clear, I've got absolutely nothing against cats. I like cats, but living in England, most houses have a garden, and I do enjoy sitting out in my garden and have my coffee in the morning. But there's a lot of neighbouring houses that have cats, and cats are very clever. They don't want to poop in their own garden. It's much better for them to poop in my garden, right? And what annoys me about that is I have to then go and pick it up, and it is very annoying. So I found myself like getting to the point where I was almost looking out for cats. Where I sit and do my work, it's right by the window, excuse me, and I'm sort of looking for them, and then I'll see them and I'll get annoyed, and then I'll stop my work and I'll go out and I'll go chasing them, so they jump over the fence and whatnot. But then one day I thought, well, this is silly, I'm concentrating on that, it's getting me wound up, it's not doing me any favours. So then I stopped concentrating on it, and then I can't actually remember, this is probably 2 or 3 months ago now, I cannot remember the last time, maybe once, But I can't really remember, apart from that, when I've seen a cat, whereas at one point I seem to be seeing them all the time. Now, you could argue because I'm not looking for them, I'm just not noticing them. But is there something bigger to that? Is it because by thinking of them all the time, subconsciously I was creating them, I was creating that situation, I was creating cats coming into the garden because I was thinking about them. If you think about it, the simulated universe, the amazing thing about that is when you tune into it, you don't have to escape the matrix, you can control it, you can bend reality to your will. That is what I find exciting. So the fact that I'm not thinking about them could mean I'm not creating them. I'm not creating cats that are in my garden. I've got a colleague at work who winds me up because this person is particularly lazy, always trying to push work onto other people, and it was getting me wound up, it was making me angry. And the more I thought about it, the more I would then go looking and checking up on this person to see, if this person was deliberately sort of avoiding work, or sometimes they would take holiday and not book it through our system, so effectively getting free days, which essentially is stealing from the company. But then again, like the situation with the cats, I found that once I stopped concentrating on that, because I was the one that was getting wound up about it, I found now that it's either not happening or I'm not noticing it, but was I creating that situation? And actually, and this is a very sort of a Buddhist outlook, it's not the person that makes you angry based on what they do, it's how you react to what they do. It's you are making yourself angry. This is why when you see Buddhist monks and you ask them a question, they sort of go like that, and they don't react quickly to things. They ponder things, and they don't seem to get angry. Now with Buddhism, actually it's a bit more of a practical. I don't want to get into religious talks about what's the right religion, wrong religion. I think they all essentially want the same goal, right? But it's very rare. Have you ever seen an angry Buddhist before? And I think it's because they just, I don't know whether it's through chanting, through meditation. And meditation, why meditation is very important is because it gives you that perspective and you're less likely to react to situations. But Buddhists, I think, Buddhist monks especially, they don't react to stuff because they just take life slower and they ponder over things, and they see, maybe they see reality as what it really is, and that it is a reflection. I truly believe in both senses that I've talked about today, that we are a reflection of true reality, which we can control, and life is a direct reflection of the things that we have intentions on. And that's why you must be positive, and you must concentrate on what you want, have a clear direction on what it is that you want, take those steps towards it, and then life will reward you for that and give you what you want. And it's again, then it's a self-fulfilling, because as you experience that success, then you get more and more of it. So please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, if you got anything out of it. And comment as well if you had experience of both of these things, where maybe you concentrated on something that's negative, maybe an angry neighbour or a neighbour that's annoying you, and the more you concentrate on, the worse it got. And then maybe the opposite, where you've had more positive thoughts and you've let things go. Maybe you've got relations that you don't get on with, and you're sort of thinking, oh, I wish they were nicer to me and stuff. Sometimes I'm afraid in life, suffering is because you're trying to force a situation, or you're just wanting something to happen that's maybe just not going to happen, and it's just better to let it go and concentrate on the good things in life. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and thanks for listening. Take care of yourself, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care.